welcome back to my channel. Today, we're gonna go through a list of do's and don'ts of college softball recruiting. Growing up in the travel softball world, I didn't learn enough of recruiting tips, and I wasn't given enough, direction in how I should have attained, a college scholarship. I was given, a lot of the don'ts, don't do this, don't do that, but I wasn't told or reassured in my process that I was doing the right thing or I was doing enough. So let's get started. Number one. The first thing you should do when you want to get recruited for softball or any sport in general is train on your own. Yes, you have practices once, twice a day, but if you don't train on your own and you don't work on those things that you learned in practice or you learned at a clinic, nobody's going to want you for their college. If you don't train on your own, you can never become that self-sufficient, independent kid that somebody's going to want at their college or somebody's going to want to recruit, because if that coach always has to tell you to do something, or that coach always has to, push you to be a better kid or push you to be a better athlete, they know that you don't actually really want that you just want it for the wrong reasons, and or that your parents want it for you. But if you train on your own and you take the time out of your busy day to plan out, times to work out, weight lift, eat right, sleep, all of these things that are very important for training, they're gonna know that you're a kid that takes their lives seriously and takes, their teens' lives seriously, because if you don't train on your own, obviously you're not gonna be able to perform or produce the way that, your team needs you to produce at that point in time. Number two, start early. Not to say that you guys are late. If you are older and you're like a junior, senior in high school, you can start now. There's never too late to start, but it makes your life so much easier. What you put in, you get out. So if you don't take the time to email 20, 25 coaches a week and continue with the coaches that you have, emailed in the past, and have new ones added to the list every week, you're not gonna get the same amount of, emails back or visits to your games. You're not gonna get the same amount of responses if you just email one person. If you just email one person, I wouldn't expect a response unless, you were amazing, because there's so many different kids emailing each college coach. They get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of emails per day. For freshmen in high school, you're about 14 years old. You won't be able to speak to a college coach until you are around 16. I don't remember the exact date, but you can even look that up on NCAA website. You can still email, you can still get your name out there and market yourself, because you never know who's going to watch you or who's going to come to your games or who's interested in that, age frame. There's a lot of coaches that still recruit those age groups, and you might even be lucky enough to be invited to, a camp or two. Email correctly. That's number three. Email correctly. I've seen so many college emails, and these girls are so excited because they're getting their emails out, and that's awesome, but they're not letting somebody else proofread them before those emails go out to coaches. They're either sending the wrong names in a cookie cutter email. That would be so disrespectful if I was a college coach to get an email from a kid that had the entirely wrong name on top of it because they didn't bother to check the fact that, they were sending it to a different school. Emailing correctly, like putting information about the school in your email, not just, hey, I'm so-and-so and I want to go to your school for softball. You have to be personal about what you want to do and what you want to accomplish and why that school is important to you and what they bring to your table. If that school has nothing to give you or offer you, there's no point in you emailing them, because softball isn't everything. It's about your life and what you want to do with your schooling. So if you don't add something to that email stating what you like about them or what intrigued you about that school, it's gonna be really hard for that coach to buy into the fact that you want to go there. Emailing correctly, like being politically correct, being very professional, because they're not your friends, they are your potential coach. The fact that some people email like it's their friend and they're texting them on a Saturday night. Not appropriate. So I would say make your parents, your coaches, anybody you trust, an English teacher, anything like that, proofread those emails for you so that you know that you are saying the correct thing and you're making yourself look and portray yourself as a really respectable, independent kid. And email correctly, like I've seen a couple parents emailing for their child. That is a huge no. Parents, have your kids do it. Your kids need to be independent. They need to want to do it themselves. If they don't want to do the emails and put in the work, they don't actually want to go to college. They don't actually want to play. They just want to say they can. If they can't even write their own emails, or they can't do it without you asking a million times, probably not that interested in doing it. Number 4, which probably should have been number 1 because this is so important, good grades. If you have good grades, it gives college coaches an option to substitute that athletic money that they could be using on somebody else that they might need, and you might get that academic money to fill that void. So it's very strategic of you to become a very good student as well as a athlete, because you become more marketable to a college coach that is on a tight budget, or a school that doesn't want to give a full budget to whatever team you like or you want to go to. I was that kid that didn't care, not that I didn't care about school, I liked it, but I had to work really hard to get more athletic money than I would have had to if I had good grades and got academic money. Number 6, I would say a big starting step for your kid, no matter how old they are, is having a list of schools that they're interested in. Because if they don't have a list of schools that they're interested in and why they're interested in them, they probably haven't done their research enough to the fact. So it's hard for them to say, hey, I want to go to college, if they haven't even looked at what that actually means and where they would like to go, what they would like to do. There's a website, and I'll link it up here. It's called collegeboard.com. It literally has every college within the United States in this website. It tells you about the student life, the dorming life, the tuition, sports, what division they are, all of this cool stuff. And it gives you a lot of intel on, that school and why it would be good for you or why it wouldn't be good for you, and what majors they offer, all that really cool stuff. College Board really helped me a lot. So every time I would get like a name of a team that wanted me or a coach that wanted me, I would make sure I looked up that school and did some research on it and made sure I made a decision to email back and tell them whether I liked the school or not, or why I didn't like the school or why I did like the school. Having a list and making a plan and writing things down kind of makes everything more real, and it allows you to be a lot more organized in what you're trying to do and accomplish in the recruiting process. So I would say if you're starting off, have at least 5 schools. Have 3 local and 2 reach schools. From that list, like I said earlier in the video, should build off of each other. So you should be emailing like 5 schools every week, plus the other 5 added to it. And the earlier you start, you're gonna have a lot more coaches looking at you, and you're gonna have your name out there a lot more. Number 7, this is so important. You have no idea how important this is. Parents are recruited too. Parents, please act accordingly. I was at a softball tournament and I know the kid, they're an amazing kid, they're an amazing player, great student, but their parents are crazy as heck, like crazy. Yelling at other kids, yelling at each other, saying crude things, talking about God knows what, doing God knows what. Their social medias are crazy. It's very bad for a college coach to fall in love with a kid and not be able to recruit them for the fact that their parents are, trouble starters or they're nuts or whatever, because ultimately you're recruiting that family to your school, not just the kid. So if you have a toxic parent, obviously it's going to cause a lot of issues and drama and unnecessary. So you're going to ruin it for your child if you don't act accordingly and respectful and and all of that. College coaches don't want you to approach them. They don't want you to try to sell you your kid, and it's not a good look. So parents, please be respectful, stay to yourself, talk very nicely, and try to encourage your kid. You're there to watch them play. You're not there to market them. You're not their market manager. You are their parent. If your kid is giving you an attitude, if your kid is not, portraying themselves the correct way, they expect you to be able to handle that at that situation. And obviously that's not saying like every kid is like that, but there are some that are. So I would say that is one of the most important things about recruiting, is your demeanor, the way that you carry yourself. It's not just about what's on the field and in the books. It's about how you are as a person. If you are toxic, if you are drama starting, if you are that person that acts like they don't care, nobody's gonna want to recruit that person. Nobody's gonna want to recruit those parents. And it's heartbreaking because some of the best kids have the worst attitudes. And it's almost impossible to get them to understand what they're doing wrong, because most of the time, 91% of the time, their parents are the exact same way. So parents, please, 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 please show a good example for your children, show a good example for their team, have your kid be a really good leader, a really good teammate, and always happy, always positive, no matter what the circumstances are, because in any sport, there's gonna be bad times, but they need to know how to be resilient and be a good teammate. Number 8, know the rules. Know the rules to recruiting. Like I said, you can go to ncaa.com, you can go to Google search, you can go to any high school guidance counselor. All of these people are going to have the right resources for you to get, recruit your child to a college campus. Know the rules. I'll link all of those websites below and resources that are, optional for that, but you need to do the research yourself. I'm talking to the kids, the parents, everybody. If this is something that you really, really want, research is so important. Knowledge is so important. It takes 2 seconds to ruin your whole reputation. And it takes a lot longer to get it back. And it's extremely hard. The softball world is very tiny. Number 9, and this is the last kind of rule I wrote down, was social media presence. I didn't talk about how to hold yourself accountable for your social media presence. Especially with this generation, I didn't really have to worry about this because, I didn't have all of this stuff before I was getting recruited. We had some of it, but it wasn't as prevalent as it is today. And kids are getting in a lot of trouble for, random things like Finstas and what they're talking about on their YouTube, what they're doing on their Snapchat, their TikToks, how they're presenting themselves to be as people, and what they're, excited to do in life. A lot of kids are excited to, get the latest shoes and chase the latest trend and, have a million friends and all of this stuff, that they lose themselves a lot in, bad things or bad decisions or bad people. So I would say if you are interested in becoming a college athlete, you are going to be held to a higher standard and a leadership role. So with that comes a lot of responsibility. A lot of responsibility is hard to deal with at a young age like that, when everybody and your friends are all acting crazy and acting foolish and having a lot of fun. But it's not like any other feeling to know that you got recruited for something so much bigger than yourself. So if you do feel like you're missing out on a lot because you are an athlete, or because you are going to softball practice or training or workouts, it is so worth it at the end of the day. You miss a lot of things, but you also get to experience a lot of things that they don't get to experience. They don't get to travel like you do. They don't get to see different places like you do and win medals and feel that feeling of being an athlete, an elite athlete at that. So the recruiting aspect is a lonely one, and if you can get through that lonely process of recruiting and staying out of trouble and really focusing on, your grind and getting to the place that you need to be, then you 110% deserve to be at the school that you want to go to. If you can't handle that and you do fall off and you do go do crazy things and make bad decisions and post them on social media, you need to reevaluate what you actually want in life and where you actually want to go, and if college softball is actually really the thing for you. Because sometimes it's not, and it's okay. That's okay. You don't have to be an athlete. You don't have to play in college. You can play in high school and end and be fine and want to just, pursue your life after that. Please don't feel like if you play travel softball and you pay a lot of money, or your parents pay a lot of money, that you have to go to college, because you don't. And that's another thing. I feel like pressuring for scholarships nowadays, because everything's so much more expensive, is really, really big thing that's happening right now. And parents, if you're seeing this, please don't pressure your kid. Let them make that decision. You need to understand that they are trying to understand what they want in life. And at 14, 15, 16, and 17 years old, most of them don't even know what they want for dinner, let alone where they want to go to college, what they want to do. And it's hard for them to make that decision. So if you can't be the parent that they need at that time, and let them make that decision, you need to reevaluate yourself as well. So this video is very real and raw, and it's going to pull at some people's attention, and I don't mean any offense to any of this, but this is the stuff that you need to hear for your kid to get anywhere, because I feel like not enough people say it, and not enough people actually, talk to colleges and talk to people. All of these tips, by the way, all of these tips and tricks and, topics that I've been talking about, I've gotten from college coaches, trainers, high school coaches. I've gotten, all of these resources from other people, not just myself, not just my research. So these are quoted from actual college softball coaches and high school coaches and all of that. No matter what anybody says, don't allow them to tell you you can't make it. Don't allow them to tell you that you're not good enough to play whatever division you're, dreaming about playing. When I was growing up, a lot of people told me that I couldn't do a lot of things, and I did all those things. So it's not up to anybody else. It's up to you. It's up to just you. So if mom doesn't think, or dad doesn't think that you can do it, or whatever coach doesn't think you can do it, that doesn't matter. Without any hesitation, you should know that you put that work in, you did that research, you emailed those coaches, and you get the good grades, and you will be just as successful as you want to be. Thank you for allowing me to give you some tips and tricks on how to get college recruited. And if you guys need anything, comment down below. I am open for questions or suggestions or whatever. And also, let me know if you want me to do a video on how to write a college email and an example. And we'll go about doing that, because I feel like that's important too. Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to turn your post notification bell on, because I always want you guys to know exactly when I'm posting. I don't have a specific date I post yet. I just kind of post when I want to and when I, feel like it, because I think that this is a lot of fun. I'm not really making it too crazy stressful. So thank you guys for listening, and I hope you liked it.